Welcome to Doodle-type, a unique and innovative piece of software to create amazing images. With Doodle-type you can create patterns or single shapes that can be used as digital papers, book covers, borders, backgrounds for other images, as well as coloring pages or actually anything you can imagine. Yes, the limitations are really up to you. Let's do a quick demo. This is the opening screen of Doodle-type. Pretty boring, isn't it? And still, it's the access point to everything you can do. Over here at the right is a preview canvas. Here you can see the pattern. In this case it's a tile, and you can see here it's the basic tile at the upper left. But it's repeated a lot of times across the canvas, and you can completely specify how many times you want to copy, repeat, rotate, mirror this single tile. You can also choose different types of tiles, and you can change this tile in many ways. This single tile is called a seed pattern, and in this case it's the tile labyrinth. It's part of the basic Doodle-type license. If I click this box, you can see a huge list of different seed patterns. For example, mountains, carnival, those are tiles. We also have shapes, and the difference is that tiles are square and will be repeated in a certain way, while shapes are repeated in different ways. And we also have a couple of full patterns, the rising sun for example, and random drop. And those are repeated across the canvas in, again, different ways. Let's choose a different pattern. Let's go for the carnival. As you can see, it's still fairly simple, a couple of lines, but because of the repeat, because this is a single tile, but the repeat makes it look like there are stars here. Now I can change this tile by adding more segments, and the amount of options you see here, it's for this tile a bit limited, but for others it's really extensive, and it totally depends on the type of pattern you're working with. For example, I can set it to have several segments, and in this case that means that the triangles are split in several parts. So now the image is getting a bit more complex. There's also, for all the tile patterns and for most of the other patterns, a fluidity slider, and what that does is, well, several things. If you use a little bit of fluidity, you get a hand-drawn quality of the lines or the areas. For example, if I move it just a little to the right, go to the colors, and here you have an entire panel of settings where you can see at the top right now only the pen is used. So I use fill colors. Right now there's nothing to see because the base color is white. I can select a random color as the base color. So each of the different colors, which as you can see here below, is identical. But I could choose to use the preset luminosity up. And suddenly I get a very much different pattern. There's the pattern settings. These are 4 different settings, especially for tile patterns. If you use other types of patterns in Doodle-type, you will find different sliders here. For example, rotate small works at the smallest 2 by 2 area. In this case I'm going to shift it to the 5th spot, which will mirror tiles, and you can see that's a bit different now, and you get those little shapes here. You could also rotate it even further and you get a different type of shape. You could also rotate large, and rotate large will repeat and mirror each set of 2 by 2 tiles and fill the entire canvas with that. And it does that in this case, but you can see that because the pattern is almost symmetric, you don't see much of it. But if I go back to the labyrinth pattern, the colors will remain, but all the pattern settings will be gone, will be initialized again for each pattern. You can see I select 6 pathways now, but I only selected 5 colors here, so the first color is repeated. But if I select 6 colors here, or 7, you can see it will be the different colors. Now I go back to the pattern, rotate the small tiles, and you can see it's really different now. I can rotate the large parts and you can see really a different image appearing, which you may or may not like. Colorization means the different starting color for each of the 4 tiles at the top left. And with color pattern you can create even more variation in each tile. And the funny thing is, if you liked this color before but you want something different now, you can click random or select a color by hand, and you can see that automatically the pattern will be changed. Now we'll go back to the symbol options, the first tab, and the fluidity slider is set to 0 when you start, but once again I can slide it a bit and you get really 80s style shapes. You can slide it further and it gets a bit chaotic, but you could also say it's a bit creative. You can slide it all the way to the left and you get all kinds of, well, fractal type chaotic patterns, which you may or may not like. In this case it's a bit crowded, but in some other images it can be quite a nice effect. That's all for the features of Doodle-type. There's one tiny thing I want to show you here, because I started without fill colors and added those. I can switch them off again and, well, you can see a nice swirly pattern, but without the colors it's really different. I can also switch off the pen and suddenly it's much softer because the dark black pen is gone. That's it for a first demo of Doodle-type. I hope you liked it, and I'm sure if you start playing with it you'll start to love it a lot more.